Welcome to Global Greats. Today we explore a moment that changed the world, the fall of Constantinople in 1453. This was more than the conquest of a city, it marked the end of the Byzantine Empire and the rise of the Ottomans. We'll uncover the ambitions of Sultan Mehmed II, the young ruler who orchestrated this historic siege. Why was Constantinople so coveted? How did Mehmed succeed where others failed? We'll examine the city's legendary defenses, the Sultan's revolutionary tactics, and the dramatic 53-day siege. Join us as we reveal how the fall of one city reshaped empires and set the stage for a new era. Mehmed II was born in 1432, son of Sultan Murad II, and raised for greatness. His education was rigorous: science, philosophy, languages, and military strategy, shaping him into a formidable leader. Mehmed's first reign as a boy ended quickly, teaching him hard lessons about power and authority. When he reclaimed the throne at 19, he was determined and focused on one goal: conquering Constantinople. For Mehmed, this was destiny, a chance to fulfill prophecy and secure his legacy. He swiftly eliminated rivals and turned all his energy to the city known as the Red Apple. Unlike his predecessors, Mehmed combined youthful ambition with strategic brilliance and relentless drive. He was ready to achieve what no Ottoman before him could: the capture of Constantinople. Constantinople was more than a city. It was the heart of the Byzantine Empire and a symbol of Christian endurance. Its location controlled the Bosphorus, the vital link between Europe and Asia, and the gateway for trade between East and West. The city's legendary Theodosian walls had repelled invaders for over 1,000 years. For the Ottomans, Constantinople was a stubborn obstacle, dividing their empire and threatening their security. Its capture would unite Ottoman lands, secure trade, and eliminate a rallying point for European crusades. Mehmed saw the city as the ultimate prize, militarily, economically, and symbolically. Taking Constantinople would cement his place in history and transform the balance of power. Mehmed II, the young and ambitious sultan, wasted no time preparing for the siege of Constantinople. Determined to succeed where others had failed, he approached the task with relentless energy and strategic vision. Every move was calculated, every resource marshaled for the coming storm. One of his first and boldest acts was the construction of Rumeli Hisar, a massive fortress on the narrowest point of the Bosphorus. This imposing structure not only cut off the city's vital supply lines from the Black Sea, but also sent a clear message to friend and foe alike. Mehmed was serious, and the city was now under threat from all sides. The fortress's powerful cannons dominated the strait, making it nearly impossible for ships to bring aid or provisions to Constantinople. Long before his main army even arrived, Mehmed had already begun to strangle the city into submission, demonstrating his mastery of both engineering and psychological warfare. Meanwhile, Mendamanchur Maum au Naum Amdan. Some Umbovalwujgur our Andidan Maum. A the vast and diverse force up to 120,000 strong. His army included not only the elite janissaries, renowned for their discipline and skill, but also siege engineers, cavalry and infantry from across his empire. This was a truly multinational force, united under Mehmed's banner for a single monumental purpose. But Mehmed's true advantage lay in his embrace of new technology. His secret weapon was gunpowder artillery, a game-changer in siege warfare. To ensure his cannons would be unmatched, he hired Orban, a master cannon founder from Hungary. Orban designed and built the Great Bombard, an enormous cannon capable of hurling massive stone balls and shattering even the thickest ancient walls. Its very presence struck fear into the hearts of defenders. Transporting these colossal weapons was a feat in itself. Hundreds of men and animals labored for weeks, dragging the massive artillery pieces over rough terrain, through forests and across rivers, all to bring them to the city's doorstep. By April 1453, Mehmed's preparations were complete. His army and artillery encircled Constantinople by land, while a formidable fleet blockaded it by sea, sealing the city's fate and cutting off all hope of rescue. Every detail was meticulously planned, from the logistics of feeding and supplying his vast army, to the use of psychological tactics designed to demoralize the defenders and break their will to resist. The stage was set for a siege that would not only test the limits of ancient defenses and modern firepower, but would also decide the fate of an empire and change the course of history forever. The siege of Constantinople began on April 6, 1453, marking the start of one of history's most dramatic battles. Sultan Mehmed II, determined to claim the city for the Ottomans, unleashed his massive cannons against the legendary Theodosian walls. These walls, which had protected the city for centuries, now trembled under the thunderous bombardment, echoing across land and sea. Inside the city, Emperor Constantine XV stood resolute. With only about 7,000 defenders, Greeks, Genoese, and Venetians alike, he faced an Ottoman army many times their size. Against overwhelming odds, Constantine inspired his men, leading from the front and refusing to abandon his people or his city. Day after day, the Ottomans battered the ancient walls with relentless artillery fire. Each night the exhausted defenders scrambled to repair breaches by torchlight, patching stones and shoring up defenses, determined to hold out for as long as possible. The defenders' courage was nothing short of extraordinary. They repelled repeated assaults, manned the ramparts without rest, and even managed daring naval missions, slipping ships past the Ottoman blockade under cover of darkness to bring in desperately needed supplies and reinforcements. Mehmed, however, was a master of innovation. In a bold move, he ordered his fleet to be hauled overland on greased wooden rollers, bypassing the massive chain that blocked the Golden Horn. This stunning maneuver forced the Byzantines to stretch their already thin forces even further, defending on multiple fronts. After weeks of relentless bombardment and mounting casualties, Mehmed sent envoys to offer terms of surrender. But Constantine, steadfast in his resolve, refused to yield, declaring he would rather die than hand over the city. On May 29th, as dawn broke, Mehmed launched his final, massive assault. Wave after wave of Ottoman troops surged against the battered walls. The elite Janissaries, renowned for their discipline and ferocity, finally broke through, opening the gates to the city. Fierce street fighting erupted as the defenders made their last stand. Despite their bravery, the Byzantines were overwhelmed. The city, battered and bloodied, finally fell to the invaders. The thousand-year-old Byzantine Empire, once the heart of Eastern Christendom, was no more. Its magnificent churches and palaces now stood silent, marking the end of an era. Mehmed II had achieved the impossible. He had conquered Constantinople, forever changing the course of history. With the fall of Constantinople in 1453, the world witnessed a turning point in history. Sultan Mehmed II, known as Mehmed the Conqueror, triumphantly rode through the city's ancient gates, his army following close behind. The city, once the proud capital of the Byzantine Empire, now belonged to the Ottomans. Mehmed made his way to the Hagia Sophia, the grand cathedral that had stood for nearly 1,000 years as a symbol of Christian power and faith. There, he ordered its immediate conversion into a mosque, marking the dawn of a new era for the city and the empire. The transformation of Hagia Sophia was not just a religious act, but a powerful statement of Ottoman ascendancy and the beginning of Istanbul's new identity. Mehmed understood the importance of stability and prosperity. He quickly restored order, inviting people of all backgrounds, Muslims, Christians, and Jews, to return and repopulate the city. He promised religious freedom and protection for all, hoping to revive the city's vibrancy and ensure its future as a thriving metropolis. To achieve this, Mehmed implemented the millet system, allowing each religious community to govern its own affairs under its own leaders. This innovative approach fostered coexistence and transformed Istanbul into a vibrant, multicultural capital where diverse traditions flourished side by side. The conquest unified Ottoman lands, connecting Europe and Asia, and secured vital trade routes that brought immense wealth and influence. Istanbul became a bustling hub of commerce, culture, and diplomacy, launching the empire into its golden age. For Europe, the loss of Constantinople was a profound shock. It marked the end of the Roman Empire, a legacy that had endured for over a millennium, and sent waves of fear and uncertainty throughout Christendom. With traditional land routes to Asia, now under Ottoman control, European nations were forced to look for new ways to reach the riches of the East. This challenge sparked a spirit of exploration and innovation, fueling what would become the Age of Discovery. Driven by necessity and ambition, explorers like Vasco da Gama and Christopher Columbus set out on daring voyages across uncharted seas. Their journeys would ultimately reshape the world's economic and political landscape, connecting continents and cultures as never before. Mehmed's victory shattered old barriers and opened new horizons, both for the Ottomans and for the world at large. The city's gates, once symbols of division, now welcome new ideas, peoples, and opportunities. Under Ottoman rule, Istanbul flourished as the heart of a vast empire, and the Ottomans became the dominant power in the region for centuries, shaping the course of history across 3 continents. The world would never be the same. The echoes of this new era still resonate today, reminding us how a single moment can alter the fate of nations and the course of civilization. The fall of Constantinople was a turning point that closed the Middle Ages and ushered in the modern era. Mehmed's conquest ended the Byzantine Empire and established Istanbul as a global capital. The siege showcased the power of gunpowder and new military tactics, signaling the end of medieval fortifications. The event forced Europe to look outward, sparking exploration and connecting continents. The consequences were vast new trade routes, shifting empires, and a transformed world map. Istanbul's legacy endures as a crossroads of cultures and history. The echoes of 1453 still shape our world today. What if the walls had held? History and the world might look very different.